Hello there, and thank you for joining me once again. In this tutorial, this time around, I'm going to tie you up a streamer fly. And it's another fly I got out of my book, Flies the Best 1000. And it's an all marabou streamer, except for a little bit of saddle hackle collar in the front and a little bit of flash on each side. And it's simply called the Dark Angel. And it's for sure going to have a lot of action in the water where it's all marabou, and I can see it being good for browns or smallmouth bass. So I figured you might like to see this guy tied up this time around, so I'll get this guy the vise, another hook in, and I'll give it a go for you. Okay, and the hook I'm using is a wide gap hook. It's a Partridge CS42 and a size number 2. I'll get that locked down in the vise here. Okay. Now the first thing I want to do is add some weight to this guy, and I'm using 0.25 lead wire, and I want a fair amount of weight on it, about 15-20 wraps. So we'll get that down on the shank here. Actually could even be a little more than that if you count them, but anyway, get that wrapped on. Wrap this around here. Okay, and we'll squeeze those wraps together, just like so. Alrighty, that's about where I want it, right there. Okay, next for thread, I'm using a heavy thread, 210 denier Danville flat wax nylon. So I'm going to start my thread right behind that lead here first. So we'll start right behind. Okay, just hold on a sec here. I got a little twist in my thread. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, now just keep wrapping up over top the lead. I'll snip that tag end off. And we're going to wrap up over top. Come in front, build a little dam. Work back over the lead again. And I'll go back up and down one more time, and then it should be fine. Okay, and I want to stop my thread about just right in front of the hook point there. Okay, and now I'm going to take a little bit of head cement and put over top of that the lead and the wraps there. Just let that soak down in good. Okay. Okay, now this fly consists of 3 marabou palms that I'm gonna palmer them. I don't know if you ever palmered marabou before, but it's done the same way as you would a soft hackle. Pretty much the same way. So what I do is just take the feather and I strip off the fuzzies off the bottom. And what you do is just take a hold of the tip, stroke the rest of the fibers back. Just like so here. And I like to wet that so it's easier to tie in. And I'm just going to tie that in where I want to start my first marabou feather. I'm going to wrap that up over the shank, over the lead. Wrap that all the way up there. And we'll snip that off there. Okay, now I'm going to begin to wrap this guy. So I'll bring my hackle pliers in here. And we'll grab a hold of the end of this guy. Okay, just like so here. Alrighty, then just begin to wrap your palm of your marabou up the shank. Same as you would a hackle, and I like to try to keep those fibers stroked back as I go. Just like so. Okay, you just take your fingers and sort of keep it worked back. Like so there. Okay, and I bring my thread back so I can tie this guy off. Okay, and we'll tie him off right there. Couple wraps around, snug that down. Okay. Now bind him down really well here. First I'm going to snip off the excess. Leave a little there to wrap down. Just bind that down nice and tight. Okay, now our next feather, I'm just going to take a little brush here and stroke that back. Okay, you can just wet your fingers and keep that back out of your way. Makes it a little easier. just like so. Alrighty. Okay. Oops. Okay, there's our first feather. Now we'll grab our second feather here, tie that in the same way, grab a hold of the tip here, gonna wet that down, and we'll tie that in this right in front of the last one here, wrap forward on it here, snip off the excess. Once again, I'll grab that with my hackle pliers, and we'll begin to palmer this guy. First drop right in front of the last marabou feather, and just palmer that forward. Just try not to trap your fibers down as you go. Okay. And we'll get about one more wrap, I figure, on this guy. And I'll come around just like so and tie off that stem. Couple wraps. Just pull down tight, release my pliers, and I'll bind that stem down here nice and tight. Snip off the excess there. Okay. I'll wet my fingers once again and pull back on all that marabou. Okay, I'm just going to give it a little brush here too at the same time, in case I got any trapped fibers. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okie dokie. Now, next step is one more marabou feather, same deal. Tie that in by the tip here. Wrap forward. Snip off the excess. Okay. Grab a hold of this guy. And we'll begin to wrap this guy up too. Just like so here. And I might even need another marabou feather. Sometimes you need more than 3. It's looking like I might need one more for this guy before I'm done here. Okay, I'm just going to stroke all them fibers back. And keep wrapping forward. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, I'll come in, tie that off same way, and I am going to need one more marabou palm feather. I can tell just by looking here, so I'm going to wrap back on this just a bit here after I comb it out. Snip that off first, and I'm going to comb that out just in case I got any trapped fibers. I want all that marabou going rearward. Okay, let's take my fingers and wet all that back again. Just like so here, make it easier to work with. Just to get it out of my way for now. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to need one more marabou feather. Just going to grab one here. May not need to wrap the whole feather, but just want to need a little bit more marabou on the front of this guy, so I'll get another one ready. Not going to need too many wraps. So, tie him in by the tip once again. Just like so here. Okay, wrap forward, I'm going to snip off the excess. And I'll grab him by the stem here. Some hackle pliers. Okay, and we'll begin to wrap him. Just like so. Just keep those feathers, or hackle fiber, or excuse me, marabou fibers going back. Is the key. like so here. And I'm going to come around one more wrap with this guy and tie it off. One more round. Okay. So you gotta leave room for your saddle hackle palmered in the front. So I'm going to snip off that excess. Just like so. And I'm going to comb that out here. Make sure there's no trapped fibers. Just using a little homemade Velcro brush I made. Okay, now pull everything back. And come back a few wraps onto that guy. Just like so. Now we'll add the flash that it calls for. And it calls for pearl and red crystal flash. But I'm going to just change it up a bit. I like to use flashabou instead of crystal flash when I'm using marabou. It's the same, pretty much the same action as the marabou. That's why I like to use it. So what I'm going to do is tie 3 in on one side here. First with the pearl. Come around. Then I'm going to fold it over. Bring that on the opposite side. Just like so. And we'll wrap those in a little farther back, just like so. And there gives. I'm gonna pull those out and cut them to length, just the same length as the marabou. There we go. That gives us the pearl flash, 3 on each side. Now I'll do the same. Come in with the red. Okay. I want to measure that up. I want 3 on that side. So come in. This side here first. Get 3 tied in on this side. Get them on the side where I want them going here. Okay, then I'll turn them on the opposite side. Bring them around, just like so. Hold them together, wrap back. And there's our flash, and I'll measure those back to the end of the marabou and clip them. And there's our flash. We have our pearl and red flashabou on each side. 3 strands of each on each side. Now last step in the fly calls for a black saddle hackle colored in the front, and I have one here, and I chose a nice webby one here. You want a nice webby hackle is the best if you can get it. And we'll tie that in here right in front of the marabou, just like so. Come forward, tie that stem down. I'm also going to fold it back, wrap back on a couple wraps. Come in and snip off that stem there. Okay, now grab that hackle. Just kind of wet my fingers and get everything going back here out of the way. Just like so. And begin to palmer the hackle. First wrap right in front of our marabou, and I try to keep them fibers stroked back as you go, like you normally would on any hackle that you're wrapping for a wet fly or streamer. Just try not to trap too many fibers. And I'll get a couple more wraps on this guy here. Probably one more is fine. I'll tie it off right there. Couple wraps. Okay, now fold that stem back. Wrap back on it a couple wraps. Come in and snip off that tip. Okay, now I'm going to take my brush once again and just going to brush those hackle fibers out, just like so there, just in case I trapped any down. Now I'm going to take my fingers and stroke all those fibers back, so to show you what it looks like when it's wet. Okay, there we go. Well, that's the gist of it. It's a done deal. pretty much I just got to build the head, whip finish, and coat the head, and we're done. So I'm just going to build a little head on this guy here. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to come in and with my whip finisher here, do a whip finish knot. I'll do 5 or 6 turns on this guy. Okay. Finish that off. Okay. Pull that down nice and tight. Now come in with my scissors. Snip off the excess thread here. Okay, and the last step is to bring in some solar edge bone dry. And we'll coat them thread wraps. Just be careful not to get any on your hackle or marabou, that's for sure. Okay, I know it's quite a gaudy looking streamer, but I know it will catch fish for sure with all that flash and the marabou action. Okay, now I hit that with the good old light here and cure them up. Okay. Okie dokie. Alrighty. There we have it. Another size 2 Dark Angel streamer. I think it's a very cool looking streamer for sure. And I thought you might like to see this guy tied up, so I gave him a go for you, and I hope you enjoyed. And if this is your first time viewing and you like this tutorial and you'd like to see more in the future, just hit that good old subscribe button. I appreciate that a lot. And as well, throw in a like too, just to let me know you like my tutorials. And if you have any comments, put them down below. And I want to thank everyone for watching, and happy tying everyone, and I shall see you again soon. And so long for now, folks. Just trying to bring them in here and give you a little look at them here. Okay. Let's see if I can get a little close up here.